Now, this will scare you. Now, Carl, you will be a little bit unnerved about this. Have you seen the film Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
You know what happened there? Well, according to the Sun here, it says scientists are planning to clone mammoths for a theme park. Look at his face, look at that, he looks like a dog caught in the headlights of a car, he's terrified.
I love Carl.
He's sprung to attention there.
Is that the best news you could have?
Man moths.
Right.
Yeah, man moths.
I love the fact that that's why he was so excited that they bred a man moth. What is this? Yeah, it's a human being that hides in your wardrobe and eats the entire jacket in a day.
Yeah.
What do you mean, man moths? Mammoths. Mammoth, the big hairy cow from the Ice Age. I mean, elephant.
You're not so excited about that, then? You can take or leave bringing back mammoths to life, but a man moth...
A man moth is a different matter. Oh. If we'd have never brought that up, he'd have gone and told someone now,
Yeah.
you know, they've bred an half man, half moth.
This is what we
That's
mean.
how things start.
This is what we mean when you hear these ghost
Are you
stories.
slightly deaf? Is that it? When you hear these stories, you're slightly deaf, and his head was in the basket, and he went, count how many times I blink. Is it...
Carl, is English your first language? Are you actually foreign? Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Should we speak
when we say
slower?
foreign, we mean not of this planet.
Yeah. Should we speak slower? Would that be a help to you?
No, go on. Next
What do you
one.
make of that?
Do you think that's good? Do you think that's good to bring back mammoths?
Prehistoric animals.
These giant elephants.
They're slow, aren't they? It's not as if they're going to, like, get out and run fast and they can't capture them.
They'd probably be a fence, to be honest, Carl. They'd probably be a fence.
No, but but you're asking it as if, like, oh, it could all go wrong, but it couldn't, could it?
Well,
really?
but the point was about Jurassic Park is they thought it wouldn't go wrong. They thought they had it all under control.
that was
Have you learned
dinosaurs.
nothing from Jurassic Park, Carl?
Dinosaurs would say, oh, think about it before you do it. But with a airy elephant, it's not going to...
Not a concern for you. Would you go along to see him? Would you be interested in that?
If it was in the area.
He's great, isn't he? I'd love a queue,
Nothing
right?
impresses
No,
him.
but what I'd like to do is Carl sitting like Yoda in a little cave, and I'd just like to see people like Tony Blair and, you know, Stephen Hawking in a queue, and they go and say, Carl, got a bit of a problem.
And thinking of cloning a man and a moth.
Yeah.
Problem? Not an issue. No, if I'm in the area, I might cruise around and have a look at it. Otherwise, just don't send it near my clothes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's just for a second. As the words man moth came into your head, how excited were you? I mean, were you both terrified and excited? For the moment when you thought that they'd cloned a man and a moth?
I pictured...
What kind of face did he have? Did he have the moth's head, or was it a man's head?
just a little man head.
Right, what was his face? What did it look like?
He just was like a bit shocked.
Perplexed, yeah.
Yeah,
so it was like he'd been grafted onto the body of a moth without his consent.
And when he was asleep,
yeah, he'd woken up.
he just went in to have a goiter removed, and they said, we've
He
replaced
woke
your
up with
goiter with the body of a giant moth.
Yeah.
Is that all right, Mr. Jenkins?
So he had the head of a little. Was it a little boy or a man?
little man,
Right. Okay.
and he's just bumping into a lamp.
Just running into a lamp.
If you went into hospital and they'd done something, what's the worst thing they could do, right? What would you rather have done, right? You wake up and you've got lobster claws for hands.
Right.
You wake up and you've got duck's feet. Or you wake up and you've got one horn coming out of your head.
The worst thing,
Yeah.
probably the horn coming out of my head.
Why?
Get in the way.
That'd be useful, wouldn't it, in fights and stuff? And for like parties, people would play
Well, I suppose
quoits.
the lobster claws would also be quite handy there.
Definitely.
So,
First show back.
yeah, it's not bad.
It's great to be
I'm
back.
just thinking about that money, Rick, to be honest. It's still playing on my mind.
I know, yeah.
Could we maybe get like a sort of telethon type thing going, or a little charity thing, just sort of help me pay?
You can't really ask people to send you money.
Really?
It's technically begging.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Unless
there
you're
any way-
are you a registered charity?
I suppose not. Not really.
We could probably get you status.
Yeah. But could I promise? I mean, could I pretend to give them something in return? I mean, am I allowed to sell things on the radio?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so-
Although you probably get in trouble with the authority if you're using it to sort of like to your own. Not like everyone else doesn't.
Not exactly. Yeah.
Free lunches and
Yeah.
sponsorship and God knows what.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people that work here, small fry, the scum.
Exactly. The nobodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
But 165 quid it's quite a lot of money. So I mean, if you want to contribute anything, Rick, as I said before, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. No, I would if I felt any responsibility.
Right.
or cared.
Sure.
But yeah, I got there too early, which is annoying. What we should have done really was get you your plane and come back, because I'd have had time.
Do you know, I was going to mention it at the time, but I didn't want to because I knew the answer would be no. So I was off.
Oh, Carl. Oh, I've had a great time. I've forgotten how good it was just to have a normal just to have a conversation with you. Have you been looking forward to this? He's really down today, isn't he?
He's down, man, isn't he?
Just a bit tired.
But it's interesting because I said to him, did you enjoy Edinburgh? He spent the week up in Edinburgh, obviously, and he said he had a well of time. He loved it up there. He's been partying every night, and he actually enjoyed it. And I've never met him when he's actually enjoyed anything before. He's never enjoyed anything, as far as I know. And I'm depressed that we weren't involved.
His paper round.
He loved the paper round, and this is the first time.
He was talking about that the other day as well. About I said to him, that's what he really thinks that paper round he had when he was 14 was the best job he'd ever had.
Yeah.
He still thinks it's the best job because he said he was his own boss. Well, no, you weren't. He went, well, I'll get on my bike and think. And he said, I bet if I phoned those people who I delivered the papers to, they'd say it was the best delivery they've ever had. He said, in fact, I bet a lot of them have chucked in delivery because it went downhill. This is all... he's thinking this as he went along.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Imagine phoning someone up and saying, you don't remember me, but I used to deliver your paper 10 years ago. Was it the best delivery service you've ever had?
No, but if I said I delivered it 10 years ago, you used to, if you got up at like 6 in the morning, it was there for you.
Yeah.
There's no other paper boy who could guarantee that they'd have that paper when they got
Carl,
out of
if you
bed.
could earn enough money, would you do a paper round again? If that was your job, but you were being paid enough to make a living from it, is that something you think about? Do you think you'd enjoy it as much nowadays?
Yeah, I reckon I would, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, listen to some music.
Sure.
£1,000 a week, would you do the best?
Yeah.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Is there anyone out there who is willing to test that? Is there anyone who's willing to pay Carl, right,
grand.
some of them £1,000
Yeah.
to take a week off work and deliver papers just for that week?
All day though, it's all day.
No. I'll get up and the customers will have their paper.
Yeah, but can I tell you what
6 o'clock
street
in the
it
morning.
is?
No, because...
No, it's the M25.
see,
You are being paid £1,000.
Yeah,
Carl. They may ask for a
you
little
got to
bit
deliver
more.
to the M25. I'll tell you what, let's take the mood down a little bit and play one of the most beautiful songs I've been looking forward to getting back on the road. Just to play this, to be honest. It's Jimmy Webb's version of Galveston. Galveston there, by the brilliant Jimmy Webb. Who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
He wrote it.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant Jimmy Webb, who wrote it?
Yeah.
It was all one sentence.
Yes.
Did I confuse you?
Again, yeah.
With my speech patterns.
It's just using the English language is always helpful, really.
But compared to Carl, I'm Oscar Wilde,
I
aren't I?
suppose so.
Not long to go on our a triumphant return. I think.
Oh,
I think
I
the
would say
papers
so.
would be saying, Steve.
Yes.
Carl. I've met Carl a couple of times in our sabbatical, and he said to me once. He said, oysters. So I said, have you ever tried oysters? No, I don't like them. And I went, he said, oh, it's just a thing about swallowing them whole. You know, he went, well, the reason you have to do that is because they're fatally poisonous, and if you bite into them, they kill you. And I went, well, of course they don't. He went, yeah. I went, well, of course they wouldn't. What if you chewed on it? He said, no. I said, well, so you swallow them whole and they're not poisonous. He went, yeah. See. He said, so he said, when you swallow heroin in a Johnny, he says that doesn't kill you, does it? That was it.
Oh.
And then about a week later, he went, I was wrong about them. Yeah, I went, well, he said, yeah. And what did you say?
it's if you eat them and then you have some whiskey.
They turn deadly when whiskey comes into contact with them.
Yeah, when they've had a drink.
They get a bit rowdy in your stomach. They start fighting. They can cause
get Larry.
So what are you saying now? Are you saying you don't believe that?
Am I saying what?
Are you saying you don't believe
Look, he
that?
thinks he's got us here. He thinks he's got us here. Yeah, I don't believe that if you eat an oyster, then drink some whiskey, you die.
You might not die straight away, but you won't.
Eventually, 50 years time.
If you've got to keep on drinking whiskey.
Yeah,
a bottle a day.
50 or 60 years later, he was dead. Yeah. Oyster and a bottle of whiskey a day. Oh, then out of nowhere, 40 years later.
Where does this information come from, Carl?
If some doctor called up now,
Yeah.
and put you right, would you believe him?
If it wasn't Dr. Fox, yeah.
What about the airy lads growing up with the werewolves and that?
They didn't grow up with werewolves.
Grow up with werewolves.
You've confused about three
Just
different
a genetic
stories there.
mutation where they were born with very, very hirsute.
There were a couple of kids, yes,
They
we
didn't
know.
grow up with wolves, and you can't kill them with a silver bullet. I mean, You're confusing two things.
There were some kids who were very, very hairy, yes.
Yeah.
They're in folklore. There were some kids who grew up with wolves, yes. I don't think the two are connected.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as werewolves, Carl.
You
Believe me, I saw a documentary on it on the History Channel. You'd have loved it.
You grew up with a
history of
magpie.
werewolves.
You know, you don't flap around, do you, and steal people's jewellery?
What was the thing you told me about snails?
Have you ever had any post that looks like it's been opened?
Occasionally, yeah.
Right. Well, what it is, it's not your postman having a
sneaky look.
Problem is,
Right.
slugs.
The problem's slugs.
Slugs at night, they like nipping about and that, and it gets a bit cold. And in London, like in the country, they go into the grass, don't they?
Right.
But in London, it's like, oh, what can we do? And they go in letterboxes.
Slugs go in letterboxes.
Get in letterboxes, it's nice and warm in there, dry and what have you. And
These are homeless slugs, aren't they? The ones that have lost their shell.
when they're in there, they only found out that they love glue. They've been eating the glue off the stamps.
Right.
And people have been getting charged for post because it hasn't had stamps on it. It's like, well, they put a stamp on it.
Yeah.
It's like slugs have been eating it.
Sure.
And they also eat the glue that's on the actual envelope shutter. And it's a real popular problem, this, that letters are being lost and opened and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Slugs.
Slugs like stealing postal orders and things and catching them in and stuff.
Yeah, again, you know, if there's a doctor, if there's a postman.
Yeah.
Well, with us two expert witnesses, a doctor and a postman. So postage is a real problem.
When we see a slug's trail or a snail's trail,
It's glue.
that's the glue they've stolen, is it? That's a little.
I'm not going to say yes to that because I'm not sure.
But we could follow that trail and find them, and they'd have a big sort of
Big pile of letters.
our stamps and
Yeah, there they are.
like birthday cards from our aunts and stuff.
Yeah, but £2 notes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Slugs.
Wow.
So, oysters and whiskey kill you, and slugs.
Be very
make you
careful if
post.
you're going to go out this evening. You're thinking of having a whiskey, maybe some oysters. Be very, very careful.
And
Likewise,
if you are going to post a letter, please do
Please,
not use
please.
tasty glue.